Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And title of this video will be Church and Culture, or diversely can be religion and culture. And one person I got to give a shout out to is Dr. Joseph Effiong. He is a cohort of mine from my university alumni days in Nigeria, University of Uyo, Communication Arts. So we were having a conversation in our WhatsApp group about, and he made a statement about Nigerian churches preaching a specific message. And I read that post, and it just, hey, I am an evaluator. I am a psychologist. I'm always processing things. So anytime somebody says something, I process it. And just as I was processing it, I was like, I just got, and I'm a psychologist. I'm always going to do that. So, let's look into this. Religion and culture are synonymous. You cannot remove religion from culture. And when we use, and I know there's this as in this context of this video, religion is going to be the worship of a supreme deity. However you want to label that supreme deity. I'm a Christian, so we're talking God. It's going to be, you cannot remove culture from it. What is culture? Culture is the way a person thinks, a people think, the way they process, the way they understand, the artifacts they have that commemorates their identity, their viewpoint, their schema, the heuristics in which they process things. Culture. And that's religion. You cannot remove religion from that. And that's also psychology. Psychology and culture are the same. So, the people of a specific culture, God cannot devoid their culture in relating with them. And I know I'm going to say some stuff here, but hey, whatever. Case in point, let's look at Old Testament and the sacrifice of a child. That was the hedonistic culture that was prevailing then. It was normal in that culture for child sacrifices to happen. In the worship of their heathen gods, they did child sacrifices. Molech, for example. For Molech, you throw a child into a fire to pray to your God, to pray to Molech. So for God to tell Abraham to sacrifice his child, it was context in that cultural context. It made sense. It was normal. It wasn't something out of the ordinary. It wasn't it's not like today I'm here, then God shows up, hey, go kill your child. I will bind that God. Like, get out of here. But in that culture, it was normal. The heathens did it. They constantly were sacrificing their children to gods that had mess. So in that context, God related to Abraham in a context that was culturally normal. Let's bring it to let me say something even further. Someone who is moralistic, you grew up in a moralistic culture, say like an African, for example, you have traditional norms and values and expectations. That's the culture there. It's when God comes to meet you, God cannot operate outside of the norm of your culture. He cannot, because you're not going to be able to process what he's saying. You can't process it. You have to, he works in the paradigm of your schema. If he works outside of your schema, you will call him alien. So he works in the paradigm of your schema. And what is schema? Schema is the way you, I don't want to go deep into psychology here, but schema is the way you process things, the way you were raised up, the way your understanding of how you look at something and your brain adds 1 + 1 is equal to 2, the way you process it, the things that your reference points in your arrival at a conclusion. What are your reference points? That's what schema is. So God operates in the schema of a people. He can't walk outside of it because you can't understand. You won't understand him. You can't process him. In communication, if you are communicating with a person, the person has to get the message, and if feedback has to be generated to show that the message was received. Otherwise, dissonance has happened. That message did not cut across. That message was lost. So, in a traditional, an African traditional context, when God shows up, that moralism will still hold place. Case in point, even in the Middle Eastern, which is where Judaism came from, that culture is a chauvinistic culture. So you can see the Old Testament where chauvinism was very prevalent in the Old Testament. But now you cross over to the modern world of the Western world, where it's a different culture here. So, to bring some of those elements of the Middle Eastern culture to cross over to the Western world, it won't fly. It won't cross over because it's culturally, it is unacceptable. It would not work. And so, it's a different, I don't want to say different message, but it's a different, there's a word I'm looking for. When the word comes, I will jump back on this if it comes. But also truth, for example. Truth is, there are principles of truth. Truth is truth. But the principles of truth may vary. How do I mean? Say you write the letter, the number 9, and somebody is north and somebody is south. I look at the number 9 from the south and it looks like 9. But somebody from the north looks at it and it looks like 6. So, is that 9 or 6 not truth? It is truth. But the perspective to which you are viewing that truth makes it look different. But it is truth. Truth does not change. Truth remains truth. The principles of truth remain that. But the way, the outlook, the way you see it, the perspective, and I'm back to that word, schema of it, the outlook of it, it will look different. So somebody from the south will look at 9 and it looks like 9. Somebody from the north looks at 9 and it looks like 6. And now both of them are in a debate. Oh no, it's 9. Oh no, it's 6. Oh no, it's 9. Oh no, it's 6. And now there's warfare. But y'all saying the same thing though. It's the same thing, just different perspective, because we are finite. We are not infinite. God is infinite, and the infiniteness of God we can't download. So the little deposit that he downloads in our finite minds to process, our finite limited minds are processing it, is regulated by our schema, by the way we process things, the way we understand things. Oh, there's another word there's another psychology word that I would throw in here. Heuristics. What is heuristics? Heuristics is simple expression. The variables that you use to define a thing, or the things that help you to the things that help you to define what, when you arrive at a thought or arrive at a conclusion. Case in point, or if I say a Chinese man, how do you know I'm talking about a Chinese man? Immediately an image comes to your mind. Someone with an oval face with slanted eyes. How did you get to that conclusion? It's your heuristics. You've used that as that's your definition of a Chinese man. Slanted eyes with an oval face and yellow skin tone. But now that extends even further. So like if I'm looking at a restaurant, for example, I see I'm standing at a place and I'm looking at two restaurants, and I'm like, okay, I want to go eat here, but I can't sit down and evaluate every single person and ask them, and taste the quality of the food and go to the kitchen and figure out. No, I can't do all that. I need to make a snap decision in 3 seconds or 4 seconds. So I look and I see, a lot of black people come out of this restaurant. Black people didn't come out of that restaurant. And I look and I see on the signboard, they have some stereotypical thing that's related to black people, maybe fried chicken, and I hate to say that, but hey, it is the truth. Fried chicken. And then I look at the other restaurant and it has something else like sandwiches. Immediately I'm like, oh no, I'm going to this restaurant. Why? Because I made a decision based on something totally superficial. That has nothing to do with the quality of the food. Has nothing to do with but I just looked at it and I made a decision and I went to that restaurant. And the other one could have been better. But again, I went to this one and I tried the food and the food was great. Now that's the restaurant I'm talking about, and that's the restaurant I'm telling people. So that process, that's decision making based on superficiality, that's what heuristics is. And we use that even in our religion. We use that in our religion. I can come, I attend Streams of Joy, and a few times people will say, oh, I came to the church and I saw the pastor, he has his hair cut, and I was like, oh, this pastor. That shows you what their mindset is. Like, a man of God has a specific image that they expect. All of us have that. We all have that. There's an image. There is something superficial that we use to define what a man of God is, what a true religion is, what a truth is. There is some superficiality that we use, which has absolutely nothing to do with what truth is. All culture, all psychology. Well, 13 minutes. I didn't think it was going to be this long. All right. When I start talking about psychology, I get all excited because, hey, that's my field. Anyhow, have a wonderful day.